Macca's guides.
Hey everyone, Mac here playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and in this video I'll take you through all 49 of the in-game journals, which you'll need in order to grab an achievement or trophy. You'll also get some great in-game rewards, as well as a ton of lore. Now unfortunately, one of these is missable. I'm going to talk about it right now. You will need the old key from the Prologue. Now in the Prologue, you'll have some festival tokens. You can get up to 3, and there are 3 vendors. One of them will give you something you can convert into a picto, one of them will give you a haircut, and one of them will give you an old key. That is Colette. Make sure you grab her old key from this vendor in the Prologue. You will need it to open a door later on, or else you will not be able to get all of the journals. Additionally, all of the journals must be done in one game save, so if you start New Game Plus, you will lose all of your journal progress. Now, the first one you'll come across naturally is in Spring Meadows. Upon reaching the abandoned Expeditioner camp, you'll automatically unlock journal number 81. At any point during the game, you can pause it and go to your journals to see which ones you have and which ones you're missing. Now, I have tried to organize this video in order based on how most people are going to be able to play the game and access certain areas. The next area you'll access is Flying Waters, and the kind of checkpoint you'll come to is called Coral Cave. As you get into the Coral Cave, if you keep to the right-hand side, there is a side path that then curves around to the left, ends in a little bit of a dead end, I believe, but does offer journal number 68. Another main story mission takes place in the Ancient Sanctuary, and you'll reach a checkpoint called the Giant Bell Alley. Now, from this expedition flag, we'll kind of backtrack a little bit, but you can go downhill, find what I believe is supposed to be that giant bell, which is right there, embedded into the ground. There will be some enemies here you might want to take care of, and on the opposite side, you can find a small opening for journal number 63. Journal 52 can be found in the Gestral Village, another place where you'll come to as a natural part of the story. Additionally, if you come back here and talk to one of the vendors, they will reward you for certain milestones based on how many journals you have. So I think you can earn up to 60 Lumina points just by coming back here and talking to a vendor. But from the kind of main area, go towards the left and follow the signs towards the arena. Instead of going to the arena, take the small path to the left to find Journal 52. You don't have to grab these in order, and you can always revisit these areas later on. Another main story mission takes place in Esquie's Nest. You can revisit this location, or you can just come here and do it on your first time through. From where Esquie is, at the very top of the large structure, right in the kind of middle area, you'll be able to go back down the steps from the top. On your right-hand side, as you're going down, you'll be able to find a small grapple point you can grapple across. And from here, you can follow the path downwards. Keep following the path until you stumble into your journal, which is on the right-hand side instead of exiting forward. Make sure you grab this one so you don't have to come back here later on.
Expedition 66, Marcel.
I'll now be able to show you a few that are in the open world. I do believe we need the ability to use Esquie to walk through rocks. This is natural progression through the game here. And as you approach the kind of north of the island, you can clear these rocks to find number 62 in these kind of building ruins near the coastline.
Verso, Expedition 62.
Whenever a collectible is available in an optional area, I will show you where that area is on the continent. So here you can find an area called the Small Burgeon. Inside there is a Nevron quest, which I'd recommend you succeed at. But additionally, you'll be able to find a journal. I believe it's in the back corner. This isn't a very large area, but in that area you'll find number 53, and then you'll pick it up. Feel free to start your Nevron quest, although it does span for a little bit of the game here before you come back and finish it up. We then rejoin the main story mission path, and that is going to take us to an area called the Stone Wave Cliffs. The nearest expedition flag for this one is the entrance, so you can fast travel there if you missed it on your first time through. And as you come around the corner from that flag, go up onto the right-hand side. Use the rope to get up to the cliff's edge, here finding 78 before you move on.
The 78.
Max on.
Still in the Stone Wave Cliffs, just a little bit later on, you'll come through this kind of large tube tunnel. You have to come through here to progress through the Stone Wave Cliffs from the entrance. You'll then be able to grapple across a gap. There will be quite a bit of enemies here in the next area, I believe, but if you stick to the left-hand side, you should navigate down to the left of a bridge that gaps a gap, and here you'll find number 56. Still in the Stonewave Cliffs, the closest expedition flag for this one is the Paintress Shrine. So you can fast travel there if you're mopping it up, or use that as a landmark if you're going through this area for the first time. You can't really miss it, as it's along that path you'll need to get to the other side to like move on in the story. Come down the ramp into the next area. There will probably be enemies in here. Stick to the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side to find number 50 near a cliff's edge, but at a dead end.
Lucille of the 50th.
After gaining the ability to swim, you should be able to swim to the east side to find an area called the Stone Wave Cliffs Cave. This is an optional area. There is a decently high-level boss in here that you don't actually need to fight, although you may want to fight it anyways. I believe it's going to offer you some pictos and a decent amount of XP if you can beat it. But if you're just here for the journal, you're going to navigate down the only real path you can. There's only one expedition flag here as you enter. There's a small little tunnel on the right-hand side you can crouch under. I don't remember what's in there. But if you grapple into the boss fight area, there is, I believe, a picto on the ground on the left and a journal on the right-hand side. So grab those, and you can always leave the area if you don't want to fight the boss.
Constantine. Theoretically.
Number 64 can be found on the continent. If I ever say the continent, that's just basically the open world map in between levels if it's not obvious. Now that we have the ability to swim, we can revisit one of the areas near the beginning of the game. And off on this island, there's a portal to an area called the Meadows. I believe there may be a music record in there, but just around the corner, there's a small little campground, and we can grab a journal here as well.
Ben. 64.
With the ability to swim, we can also swim to the west of the exit from the Stonewave Cliffs. This will discover us an island called White Tree. I believe there is a couple of things you can grab here, and there's a lost Gestral, I think, on the island before you go inside. But if you go into the portal, into the White Tree area, you'll find a music record and journal number 36. Another optional area we can go to is called Yellow Harvest. I don't know what level you'll want to be in order to go in here. If there's danger, you can always come back later, but there are 3 collectibles in Yellow Harvest, and it's advantageous for you to grab them either now or do them later. Now, one of the checkpoints inside of Yellow Harvest is called Harvester's Hollow, and there will be 2 collectibles we can grab from this checkpoint right here. Just explore. This area can be a little bit confusing, but there aren't that many flags to grab, and you want to grab them anyways to always have these fast travel points so you can get in and get out quite quickly and easily. At the end of the game, you can also use the expedition flags to teleport back to the continent, so mopping these up at the very end of the game is actually a lot easier than doing them as you're playing. But from that flag, you can kind of go up this ramp, dodging the enemy. It'll bring you into a small little arena-style area, and here you can find number 38.
Expedition 38.
Also from the Harvester's Hollow checkpoint in Yellow Harvest, instead of going up that ramp that I just showed you, which brings you to that arena, just ignore that ramp and go just to the left of it, and then just kind of cut across the field, watching out for enemies or taking care of them. I already took care of them, but then they respawned when I came back, so that's why they're here. But if you cut across the field, there is a Lamp Nevron, and near that Lamp Nevron, you can find number 44.
Expedition 44.
Not far from the Harvester's Hollow checkpoint, you can find a cave, and that cave is called the Yellow Spire Rex. From that expedition flag, you can go deeper into the cave, and at the end of the cave, there is kind of like a large resin structure. Here you'll find 59.
Julian. 59er.
Another area you can swim to after the Stonewave Cliffs is the Crushing Caverns. This may require you to be a little bit of a higher level, as there is a boss battle in here. So if you are too low of a level, continue with the story and come back a little bit later. I did this battle at like level 85, so I beat the boss in one hit, and I don't know the recommended level here. But if you go into Crushing Caverns, you'll just kind of follow the hallway. There's only really one way to go. The floor will break from underneath you, and you will be ambushed by a boss. You're going to have to take that boss out. If you're not strong enough, you can leave and come back later. But after you take the boss out, a new path will be revealed where the boss was sitting. It'll basically open up a tunnel for you. So this boss probably requires you to be around level 20 to 30, if I had to guess based on the rewards we got there. But go up through where the boss was sitting, up the little rope, and then in through the cave, keeping to your left to find journal number 45. Interesting fun fact, this was my last journal, so my achievement actually unlocks right after I picked this one up, although I'm going to end the clip a little bit early here. After grabbing those, you can rejoin the main story path, and you should go to an area called the Forgotten Battlefield. And there will be a checkpoint here called Battlefield. The landmark is this kind of ghost person you can talk to in a four-way intersection of paths. You can come back here if you already went through the battlefield, teleport to the flag, and get it real quick. If you take the right-hand path from that ghost figure, you can find Journal 41. Additionally, inside of the Forgotten Battlefield, you can find Journal number 57. Using that same flag known as Battlefield, if you fast travel to it, you can basically just run past that ghost figure that is in that four-way corner. Continue forward, and the battlefield will change into a slightly more grassy area. You'll notice an arc on your left-hand side. This one has a pretty obvious journal kind of directly in front of you as you come down the hill.
Expedition 57.
After finishing the Forgotten Battlefield, you'll end up in an area between that and Monoco Station. You can go into the Stone Quarry from the main world here, and as soon as you enter the Stone Quarry, you should be able to find journal entry number 48 here. There's also a Neveron quest with the Troubadour right next to it. I'd recommend you complete that while you're here.
48. He wouldn't listen.
Next up, following the main story, we'll end up going through Monoco Station. And after we complete it, you can return to it. There will be an expedition flag kind of near the very middle called Monoco Station. And here there will be a new path only after you complete it that leads you to this corner right here. This leads you to an exit towards something called the Sacred River. And on that path towards that exit, on the left side, you can find number 65. Continuing with the main story, you'll end up in Old Lumiere. The rest point here is called Left Street, and this is the one in the game that's missable as it requires the old key, which is the first thing I mentioned in this video. You would have had to grab it from a vendor in the prologue, and if you don't have that old key, as far as I know and as far as everyone else knows, there is no other way to get this, and the achievement or trophy won't unlock without it. From Left Street, and with your old key from the prologue, come down the hill, go to the right. Here, you'll be able to drop down into a pipe and use the old key to open a gate, finding Fracture Survivor Journal inside.
Melanie, 5th of February.
Later on in the Old Lumiere area, one of the last rest points you'll come through is called Manor Gardens, just in front of the manor. And here, instead of going forward, go to the left and through the gate to find a manor door. Going inside, and we'll be able to see a journal called Renoir. Most of the journals here are numbered in the game. I think there's like 30 or 40 of them that are numbered, but a couple of them do have specific names, and we'll be grabbing those as well. Once you enter the manor, there should be a music journal in the sink directly in front of you, but in the connecting room, you can also find a journal on the bedside table. Grab that as well. Journal number 58 is automatically unlocked once you complete the boss at the end of the Old Lumiere section. This boss is named Renoir, and after beating them, you should be automatically returned to the campsite, and Journal 58 will unlock. Now, this one may seem out of order, but I'm actually not sure if it's possible to get this one unless you come back after defeating Renoir. From the old Lumiere Manor Gardens, you'll notice that there is no manor anymore because I've already defeated Renoir, and it instead is an exit to the other side of the continent that we were blocked in from. But from the Manor Gardens Expedition flag, go up the hill to the very far right. There is a quick little dead end here that I took a turn into to double check. Nothing in there. Instead, go straight down the rope into the next area. I believe there might be some chroma here or a picto, but more importantly, watch out for the enemy. There is also a journal. After completing Old Lumiere in the main story, you'll be tasked with doing the 2 Axon fights. The first one I'm going to show off here is Visage, and there's a few things to grab in here. From the Joy Vale area of Visage, there's an expedition point there. You can grab number 69. Nice. I'm even wearing a special outfit just to show this one off, but if you go down the path and stick to the left, you can find it near some enemies here. Additionally, in Visage, but this time in the Sadness Vale, basically there's like 3 different directions you can go. All of them have a collectible. So in Visage Sadness Vale, you can find journal number 39. I think sequentially this might be one of the first ones in our kind of logbook. Go down the hill a little bit. There will be some enemies, but as you're coming down the hill, stick to the right-hand side. There will be a little bit of a path that veers up the cliff face. And here you can then mantle up and find it at the very end of the path. Grab it before you move on.
Expedition 39.
Next up, still in the Visage area, this time in the Anger Vale, there are 3 journals that are just called Unknown. You need to grab all 3 of them, although they aren't uniquely named. You want all of them. So from the Anger Vale Expedition flag, drop down and stick to the right-hand side. You'll find a small cave entrance. If you stick to the right as you go through that cave, you'll find a door that leads you to the manor. Go through that door. There will be a small little cutscene to get you in there. And as soon as you are inside of the manor, you should be able to find something on the ground here, which is the Verso music record. But just around the corner in the next room, you can also find the Unknown journal entry. The second Axon area I'm going to show off is named Sirene. This one has a little bit of a complicated structure, but you're going to end up hitting all of the same flags as me. One of them being an area called Dancing Classes. Here you'll have a couple of enemies that are dancing, but go up the ramp and stick to the right-hand side. Take out the enemies with your free aim shot. This is actually a decent area to grind a little bit of XP just to level up some of your characters. But on the right side, you can find number 55 before you move on a little bit further into this mission. Another rest point you'll reach in Sirene is the Dancing Arena. This is a flag you shouldn't really miss because you have to come by it to make progress. And right next to it, you should be seeing number 67. This one's pretty hard to miss. After defeating both of the Axons, we are going to make our way to the Monolith itself. And on the way to the Monolith, there's this little island right here in the open world. You're going to swim to it, and if you land on it, I believe there's a vendor here. I don't remember what they sell. It's probably just a few haircuts. But on the island, you can also find Journal 40. Grab that. The next major story beat is inside of the Monolith. One of the rest points you'll come to is named the Tainted Battlefield, and from the Tainted Battlefield you can find a door that leads to the manor, and inside of that door you can find the journal called Aline. So go through the Tainted Battlefield. There's going to be a bunch of enemies here. I've taken them out. You can try to avoid them, but generally speaking, you do want to participate in as many fights as possible in this game so you can level up, get stronger, earn points, and all that stuff. You'll come through this gate and the path splits left and right. Go to the left and follow the path to find the manor door. Go through that door to enter into the manor. And as soon as you enter into the manor, you can find a music record. I think I said music journal earlier in the game, earlier in this video by accident. But you can also find Aline, the journal.
His little grin.
This next one is going to involve quite a bit of distance from the closest expedition flag. The closest expedition flag is called Tainted Lumiere. And again, we are still inside of the Monolith, in case you're wondering. I'll be avoiding enemies here, but we're going to be running forward. We're going to be kind of going across these paths. Eventually, we will reach a kind of tree, and at that tree, there's a couple of different ways to go, but only one of them leads to a specific journal, number 70. It's going to be on the right-hand side, but just follow the video for a bit here. I'll rejoin you. So this is the tree I was mentioning. I just didn't want you to get lost. That's why I'm showing it all the way from the expedition flag. At this tree, go to the right-hand side, and then you'll be able to grapple across a gap, grapple across another gap. There's probably an unavoidable fight here you'll need to participate in, so we're going to do that. And as soon as that ends, go around the corner to find Journal 70. And there's also probably something else you can pick up here while you're here.
Charlotte, 70. We finally installed.
Now, completing the Monolith gives Esquie the ability to fly, which unlocks so many areas in the map, a lot of which have collectibles. So we're going to grab all of the journals that you can fly to before we complete the rest of the story. One of those being number 37, found inside of this Gestral Beach area. There's also a climbing wall minigame here. Another area we can fly to is this area right here, not far from Monaco Station. There's an area called the Sky Island. This is actually underneath that. Go to this island. There may be an enemy here. It's up to you whether you fight them or not. But not far from this enemy, you can find number 43. We're going to continue the trend of grabbing things in the open world. Just south of Monaco Station, we can find two journals. One's called Julie, one's called Verso. You do need the flight ability as it's on this cliff's edge, so you can fly to this cliff's edge, and as soon as you land kind of directly in front of you, you can find Julie. So we're going to grab Julie, and right next to that, we can also find Verso, which is technically behind the enemies. These are very high-level enemies, but you can fly behind them and get around them, or you can face them as you level up and come back later. I don't know if this next one requires us to have the ability to fly or if there's just a very high-level enemy guarding this area, but to the west of Monaco Station, not far from the entrance to Old Lumiere, you can fight a Burgeon here, take it out, and then you can find number 47 on the path behind it.
Thomas of the 47th.
You can also use your fly ability to return to somewhere near the very beginning of the game. And this place is called the Fountain. Again, only accessible if you can fly. This says it's a very high level area, but you don't need to fight anything in here if you don't want to. There is a Nevron quest here with Blanche, but it should be the last one you do. In this area, though, you can find 84, one of the final numbered ones in our list.
Monolith year 84.
There's also a high-leveled area not far from the Forgotten Battlefield named Falling Leaves. The reason I put it after some of the other ones is because this one would require you to face some enemies that can be quite difficult. There's only really one expedition flag in here. It's called Resinveil Grove. And from Resinveil Grove, there are two things we can grab. So the first one is basically just from that expedition flag, run forward kind of as far as you can. You'll reach the end of the area quite quickly, and there you can find Journal 35. We'll then return to Resinveil Grove Expedition Flag for our next one as a reference point.
Matteo, 35.
The other journal in Falling Leaves is number 49. Starting again from that Resinveil Grove Expedition Flag, running directly in front of us, you'll be able to find the Spirit Boy. This is going to send you on a little bit of a quest. A couple of the ones at the end of this video are a little longer and a little bit more involved, so you may want to go to the Endless Tower to level up, work on some other achievements, and then come back to this once you're a higher level. Now, the Spirit Boy will go and ask you to find the Lady of the Sap. You can find her just not far from where he is. Just go down the path to the kind of bottom area, find her, talk to her, return to the Spirit Boy, and then the Spirit Boy will open up the door behind him. This will lead you to a boss battle, and on your way to that boss battle, you should see number 49. It's very hard to miss. It'll be pretty much directly in front of you on your path as you make your way up.
Expedition.
Another high-level area with a collectible is called Frozen Hearts, not far from Monoco Station to the east. And this will require you don't have to fight any enemies here, but it's up to you actually. And the first rest point you'll come to is the Icebound train station. This one's not far from the entrance. You can always leave if the enemies are too high of a level. Go forward and across the bridge. You'll see the train directly in front of you. Go to the path just slightly to the right of it, and at the end of this path, dodging an enemy if you want to, find Journal 51. The next one I'll show you is in an area called Sirene's Dress. This is an area only accessible as a part of Lune's friendship quest. So keep going to the camp, keep talking to Lune. I believe once you get to level 6, she'll ask you to go to this area to complete her quest. The only thing to do here is to defeat the boss. As soon as you defeat that boss, it'll open up an area behind it. Just follow the path to the end, grab the journal, and you can leave, go back to the camp, talk to Lune, and this should get you, I believe, to Lune maximum rank level 7.
Expedition 46.
This is another high-level area, but I don't think you need to actually participate in any battles here. Near the northwest corner, not far from the area called the Reacher, which is the next area we'll go to, you can find an area called the Crows. Enter into the Crows and grab the journal directly in front of you before you move on.
34th Expedition.
The area right next to the Crows is called the Reacher, and this does require the ability to fly, and this is an area you'll come as a part of Maelle's friendship quest. As you make your way up the Reacher, you can't really miss number 61. You'll come by this enemy. I'm going to ignore them for now. We'll come across this bridge. As we get chased by this enemy I'm trying to ignore, there will be a hot air balloon you'll need to take in order to reach the top of this area, which is our main goal. And before you take that hot air balloon, to the left of it, you can find number 61. Grab that before you move on. Additionally, in the Reacher, you will come to an expedition flag as you work your way up to the very top of the tower, known as Ladder Area. So starting at that expedition flag, you want to go to the center of the tower and then drop down. And here you'll be able to find a door that leads you to the Manor. So go into that door, and this will take you to a specific room inside of the Manor. And in that room, you should be able to find the unknown journal. This is going to be our second out of 3. But again, remember, there are 3 unknown journals.
You speak to me of perfection, but
I've now moved on to the final mission of the game, Act 3, which takes place in Lumiere. And as you come up these grapple points, you'll come to the Opera House directly in front of you. Inside of there, you can find an expedition flag known as the Opera House. Now, you can finish this mission. Don't worry, there isn't a point of no return. After you defeat the final boss, you can start New Game Plus. You do not want to do that. Instead, you'll just be able to basically spawn right before the boss and just keep playing, exploring. On your way up to the Opera House, to the right-hand side, go to the edge, interacting with it in order for Esquie to bring you this journal, number 60.
Expedition 60.
The final 2 I'll show you are pretty involved and will require you to be very high level, probably 80, 85, or 90. One of the unknown journals is rewarded as a part of completing the painting workshop mystery. This will have you visit 3 painting workshops on the map, which I'll show you all of them. And during these painting workshops, you're going to need to parkour your way through the level, pick up an item from the Spirit Boy, place that item at the statue at the end of the area, and exit. And once you complete all 3 areas, you will bring color, life, and shape and light to the painting workshops. It'll go from black and white to colored. So the first one there was kind of floating in the water area. The second one here is not far from Monoco Station, just off to the left of it, and we will deliver that item as well. The third one does require us to have the ability to fly. It's found northeast corner of the map, north of the Gestral Beach. If you go in here, this one is probably the most difficult parkour section, but once you reach the very end and you've delivered all 3 of the pieces in all 3 of those areas I've shown, you will bring color to the world. That's kind of step 1. As soon as you bring color to the world, you can walk past the statue and there will be a Lamp Master boss battle. Very difficult, level 80 recommended. Defeat that boss to get the Noir et Blanc achievement / trophy. This will allow you to do the next step, which is to go to the canvas in the northwest corner of the map. You will need the fly ability. Once you're inside of the canvas, you can go ahead and grab the family portrait. I do have a longer extended video showing how to do all of this. If I'm going over it a little bit too quickly, you probably want to check out that video. With the family portrait, return to the manor using any of the manor doors that you know of, and interact with the empty frame in the lobby on the right-hand side staircase. Place the family portrait into that frame. This will open up a secret door to the painting workshop at the very end of the hallway in the manor. And if you go into here, there will be a unknown journal waiting for you. This should be all 3 of the unknown journals for us, with only 1 more to go. The final thing you'll want to do in the game is probably to defeat Simon around level 90. This is the hardest boss in the game with over 50 million health, although I do have a video on how you can beat him in only 1 hit. You can find him in an area called Renoir's Drafts, which will require you to have the ability to swim underwater by reaching Esquie rank number 7 with friendship. You can dive into Renoir's Drafts. At the end of Renoir's Drafts, you can find the Abyss. Here you can challenge Simon, and upon defeating Simon, you can pick up his journal at the end of his area. With all of the journals done, your achievement or trophy should unlock. Don't forget to talk to the Gestral in the Gestral Village to get your Lumina points. Don't forget to drop a like on this video and share it with a friend. Special thank you to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and I'll see you soon. Peace.